this point, we really have 5 catalysts that are responsible for today's price collapse, with the first being 1. Investors are turning risk off. As mundane as it might sound, investors are rotating out of speculative assets and into more safe havens as economic uncertainty is increasing. After all, stocks are trading at relatively high valuations. 3 out of 4 conditions are met for AI to be considered a bubble, and with interest rates expected to remain relatively the same for the next few months, Bitcoin becomes a sell the news event, especially as people take their losses for tax loss harvesting. 2. The US dollar is strengthening. Here's the thing, most people purchase Bitcoin as a hedge against inflation, a weakening dollar, and less purchasing power. But when the dollar starts getting stronger, there's less of a reason to buy Bitcoin, and that leads to a sell-off, especially with 4. ETF sales are amplifying the crash. Just consider this, when you go and buy an ETF, that ETF must go and buy the underlying Bitcoin to hold as a reserve. Now, even though this works in favor of Bitcoin when the price is going up and the ETF is buying everything available, it also works in reverse, where people sell the ETF then has to sell the underlying Bitcoin, causing the price to fall, causing people to sell even more of the ETF, causing the price to fall even further, creating a death spiral. On top of that, 4, there's also no more new good news. For instance, a year ago, there was the promise of a strategic Bitcoin reserve. There was optimism around Bitcoin ETFs. It was assumed that we would just continue printing endless money. Gold had yet to steal the spotlight, and Bitcoin was positioned to be a dominating asset that would eventually increase to $250,000, $500,000, and even $1 million. But now, there's no more good news to look forward to. Most of the highlights have somewhat neutralized. Recent cryptocurrency legislation appears to have stalled, and there's the assumption that if we see another blue wave throughout Congress, they could move to further regulate Bitcoin in a way that suppresses its price, leading to 5th, a loss of conviction. A lot of investors no longer believe that Bitcoin is a hedge against macro or geopolitical risks, for the fact that gold rose 50% in 2025 while Bitcoin fell 7%. Instead, Bitcoin became a leveraged risk asset that was more so associated with speculative stocks. Even Deutsche Bank said that the recent sell-off is more likely about negative retail interest than any one-off event. Or put more simply, people are losing faith that Bitcoin is correlated to anything, causing them to sell off, which causes the price to fall even further, causing people to lose more interest, causing them to sell off. Now, before we talk about whether or not this could soon be a generational buying opportunity that retires your entire bloodline, or the biggest mistake you're ever going to make, we got to talk about Bitcoin risks.